Hey folks, David Stewart here. Let's talk about the growth mindset. ABG, as I like to say, always be growing. This is actually part 4. This video is part 4 of my video series, Keys to Prolific Creation, where I go over 8 different things that if you are mastering during your creative process, you're going to find yourself highly productive, highly efficient with what you're doing, and you're going to see your output hopefully go up. These are all lessons that I've learned along the way in my life to be able to be a highly productive creative individual. And I think this will work for anyone that's in literature or art, sometimes in business, definitely in music. So the growth mindset basically takes the position that no matter what you're doing or where you're at, there's always some room to grow. You could always be better. You're never at the best. You've never achieved the best that's possible. And that's not like a self-deprecating thing like, oh, I suck. It's a realistic thing so that you can see your successes and failures, so that you can attack your failures and eliminate them, and so that you can improve on your successes. If you feel like you've achieved the pinnacle of what you're doing, it's kind of like life, right? If you're not growing, you're decaying. It's like a tree. If a tree's not growing, it starts to die. And you kind of have to have that approach with what you're doing. If you feel like you've plateaued out with what you're doing, and certainly I have felt this way many times. I felt this way years ago with classical guitar, like I'm not getting any better, I'm just spinning my wheels, I'm practicing the same literature to play the same gigs over and over again. You got to find something else to do. You got to find some other way to grow. And for me, that was actually taking a break from music and growing with my writing and being an author. And then when I came back to music, I had better perspectives. I had better managed my creative process, and I knew how to add in more things. It's sort of into my bucket of skills to produce something new. And you can find evidence of that with my first project that'll be coming out. It's called Zul, and the album's called Memories Adrift. It'll actually be out on Halloween. You can find out more info down below and at zulonline.com, zulonline.com, which is like an ambient rock album. Very, very interesting to work on, and definitely helped me grow and was a result of my growth as well. So it had both those things going. And it's because, when you kind of get a plateau, you have to think about other ways to do it. Either you're going to add in more skills, or you're going to try something differently, or you're going to change your approach, you're going to change your process, you're going to change your goals, you're going to readjust your goals to what you're going to do. That's part of the growth mindset. If you find that you've achieved a goal, you need to figure out what that next goal is going to be. Otherwise, you're going to stagnate, or you're going to lose interest. Sometimes people, when they complete a big project, afterwards they have this depression. You get a depression that sets in. And if you watch Indie Game the movie, had a great example. The guy who made Braid, whose name actually escapes me. A game called Braid, very cool game. After he completed the game and put it out and sold it, he had this sort of period of depression that kind of set in because there wasn't that constant thing that he was working on anymore. So you have to be willing to take a look at that, reflect, and then figure out how you're going to grow. Other ways that authors can grow: add some skills in, learn to be a good editor, right? Learn to do book cover design. That's going to save you money. Start stacking up your skills. If you feel like you can't get any better in an area, at least stack up some other skills on top of that so that you can be more profitable, more efficient, more creative. If you're a classical guitarist, you could go learn to do some other things to add into that to expand the possibilities of your repertoire. Learn to play piano, and you can add piano into what you're doing, or learn music production so you can create your own albums, whatever it is that you're going to do. So stacking skills is another way that you can look at the growth mindset. It's not just about perfecting your main focus, but also adding into what you're doing. Learn web design if you're an author or you're a musician, so that you can design your own website exactly the way that you want it to be. Learn the software that you end up using to mix and master albums if you're a musician. Learn the software that you're going to use to create your ebooks and create your actual final book files as an author. That saves you money, and it saves you time, and allows you more control over what you're doing, so you can be creative with the details of what you're doing. My last book that I came out with was called Water of Awakening, and I did all the cover design myself, and I might even do an updated cover design here at some point, using the skills that I've gained and grown in since I put out that book. But if you look in that book, and if you happen to be one of those people that has the physical copy of it, all of the drop caps for every chapter were custom designed by me. They were created in a program called Inkscape, which is a vector-based program, out of all these silhouettes that I created of ravens to create something really unique and interesting. Just that little detail right there, I felt like was worth me learning the software and learning all the design elements so that little thing could exist for people, that little detail, just makes the work that much better. It's kind of like a stacking of talent, a stacking of skills sort of thing. And so I think that's a really important mindset to have regardless of what you're doing. And as you grow on your journey, you're going to feel satisfied from growing and improving. You don't want to self-deprecate, like I said, but you always want to look back and say, wow, I've grown so much. Like, that was good, but it's so much better now. I have so much more capacity now than what I had before. And that also means if you have one success, the next one you can build on that success and be even more successful. Also, with the growth mindset, you won't ever get into despair where, like, you come out with your first book and nobody reads it, right? Which is what pretty much happens to every author, even if they're published. It's really rare that your first book is like a hit or attracts any kind of attention at all. It's much more common that, like, your first book is a flop and no one reads it, or it's just bad. And that's okay. You look at that and you're like, okay, if you keep the growth set in mind, like, what can I do better? Next time, the next book's a little better, a little more successful, and eventually you can achieve some level of success and have grown with that. If you view yourself as not having any room to improve, then you might end up plateaued at a level that's not as successful as you would prefer to be. So thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You can find me outside of YouTube and VidMe or wherever you happen to be watching this down below. You can find me at davidvstewart.com, dvspress.com, zolonline.com. Zolonline will have links for the pre-order of my new album. You can pre-order it on iTunes. I prefer you pre-order it on Bandcamp because the files are a little higher quality, and there will be some physical editions of that out as well. So thank you so much, and I will see you guys next time.